months and months later, when you've had a chance to reflect on why an accident is not your fault. You were questioned by police officers immediately after the incident. You responded, actually, to the police officers and told them what happened and told them that you crashed and you didn't know why. The police officers observed your demeanor. They determined that you were operating a vehicle under the influence of alcohol. I don't know whether you have insurance or not. I don't know whether you had insurance on the date of the incident or not. But by your careless and reckless behavior, you've turned this lady's life upside down. She had a little life in a little house where she had all of her property, and you've turned her life totally upside down. She has nothing. And you're responsible for that. So if you had no insurance or if the insurance disclaimed, that would be your problem. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount requested, $10,000. We're finished.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Whitney, then Rachel.
I think it was the correct decision, as it really could be the only decision.
I remember seeing the dog going through, but yeah, it was an accident.
I thought my house exploded, and I was in a house that was going to come down with my dog.
Luckily, I didn't hurt anybody.
I think anybody who would drink and drive isn't willing to take responsibility for their actions.
Judy and Sarah.
You know, sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're a bug. Sometimes you're both.
As in this case.
That's really a trick. I have no idea what that insurance is.
A lot of fine print, I'm feeling, was probably the issue.
Yeah, but I cannot imagine if it was legitimate insurance, and she had legitimate insurance, except that she's got a $10,000 maximum on any sort of collision. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what it is. I actually feel sorry for that lady, don't you?
Me too. Everything in 500 square feet in a home that she's built.
And she's comfortable. She was comfortable in that.
No, exactly.
She has nothing. And I didn't see a whole bunch of remorse there.
Nope, me neither.
Case number 2033, Broussard Ferrero versus Stigney. All parties, please step forward.
Tammy Broussard and Catherine Fierro are suing 21-year-old Alicia Stigney for travel vouchers and harassment.
Whose son was it who was living with the defendant?
My son.
Broad strokes, what I get from this. Is that your son?
Yes, ma'am.
Your son became involved, according to you, with the defendant. She has one child with your son and one child with someone else.
Yes, ma'am.
What I gather, there was a time that everybody was happy living together, and I believe it was your brother who was getting married in Las Vegas.
Yes, ma'am.
And the defendant at that time was put in charge of ordering the plane tickets for everyone to go. But the defendant was told to use someone else's credit card. And who was that?
That's Catherine Fierro's.
That was Miss Fierro.
Yes.
Miss Fierro is whom?
I am the fiancée to her brother.
In any event, the wedding did not come off as planned in Las Vegas. Parties did not use the flight tickets that you had booked with someone else's credit card.
Correct.
And you were given travel vouchers, and that's what they're suing for. They want their travel vouchers. That's it. So I just have a few questions. It's not a very difficult case. When you booked the flights for everyone, how many tickets did you book?
It was myself, my 4-year-old. The infant was a lap, so she would not count.
And your boyfriend?
At the time, yes. Rowan.
Yes.
And then it was also Tammy Broussard, her daughter, and that was all.
Whose credit card did you pay for those tickets with?
It was Cap's.
That's you?
Yes.
And did you pay for those tickets?
They were put on my credit card. Yes, they were, Your Honor.
Did you, in fact, pay for them, is my question.
Yes.
I'd like to see proof that you paid for their flights. And if you have the following month's bill as well, did you ever receive a credit for those flights?
No, I did not. I
On
wasn't
your
aware
credit-
what happened until I asked the son, the airline, to send me this.
I'd like to see it.
There you go.
Because it's still on your credit card.
Yes.
Okay.
Judy reviews the document.
Okay, so you received vouchers, according to this, that totaled little over $1,000.
Yes.
What did you do with them?
I did use them.
Just a second. You didn't pay for the tickets.
Correct.
So my question is, why didn't you turn the vouchers over to the people who actually paid for the tickets?
Caption coming up.
You booked the tickets but didn't pay for them. The wedding got canceled because of COVID. You got vouchers for what she paid for and you used them without any agreement. What is the issue here? Am I missing something?
Sarah shakes her head. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Tammy, Catherine, and Alicia.
Tammy Broussard and Catherine Fierro claim 21-year-old Alicia Stigney owes for travel vouchers and harassment.
Now, did you discuss the vouchers with her?
I did not meet her until, I believe, early February when we left Las Vegas to go to Minnesota. And shortly after meeting her the day that we got there, she called my fiance, asked if we could watch the baby.
No.
But we did have a discussion about it, a slight one.
Only a discussion with you. I don't want to hear about any
Okay,
conversation.
well, I did bring it up.
Well,
to
I'd
her.
like you to tell me what the
Well,
discussion
when
was.
we came to watch her baby for the first time, she went to show me the baby's room where the diapers were, where the wipes are, and she was running around looking for wipes. And I said, I don't want to seem rude, but you do have the vouchers, correct, for the wedding. They were specifically meant for my wedding. And she said she didn't really have time to talk about it, that she was going out for the weekend to Rochester to go out and have fun with her. So she just left very quickly. Then we watched the baby a second time, and I decided to leave a little bit early to get to the house to watch the baby. And when we arrived, she was out the door. So she did not want to talk about
Well,
the
I don't.
vouchers.
That's sort of speculation.
Yes.
I don't understand what the issue is. She paid for the tickets. You did not, but you used the vouchers.
I did.
Well, then she's entitled to be compensated for what she paid.
Your Honor, she also posted on Facebook trying to sell the tickets.
Well, I mean, I don't know. This is not
Should've been
rocket science. Am I missing something here? You booked the tickets but didn't pay for them. Wedding got canceled because of COVID. You got vouchers for what she paid for and you used them without any agreement. What is the issue here? Am I missing something?
I don't think so.
Would you tell me?
Yes. So back last year, I have the agreement. It was sometime, I think June or July. Tammy moved to Minnesota or to Austin.
Don't go off on a tangent. Listen to me.
Her apartment is in my name because she couldn't put it in her name.
Okay. And?
So they said, because later in February, Kat had now moved into Tammy's apartment with Tammy that is in my name.
Okay.
So they, as a thank you, they had said that they did not want the vouchers back, that I could use them. They also said that they would not able to use them before they expired in October of this year.
That is not true, Your Honor.
What do you mean they said? Those are two people.
Yes, Tammy and Kat. I had ran into Kat at Walmart sometime late March, I think it was, after me and the Romaine had broke up.
Whatever his name is, Romaine. Romaine and I broke up.
Yes.
I'm still trying to figure out why you didn't give her the vouchers when you got them.
We were still together, me and Romaine. We were planning on taking a trip this year.
What difference does it make? Were you supposed to pay for the tickets to Vegas?
No.
Was that your agreement, that somebody else was going to pay for them?
They agreed that they'd pay for them, yes.
Is that right?
To come to the wedding, not to go anywhere else, just
To come to the wedding, but the wedding was canceled.
Yes.
Correct.
And we did not speak at Walmart about anything about those.
What I have here are two charges, one for $320 and one for $538. Is that what you spent on the tickets?
Yes.
And ma'am, I have something from June 18th on Facebook where she was trying to sell them on Facebook. And I had...
I actually, Ms. Brisson, don't understand why you're here.
I'm here because there's also a harassment. We have a police report regarding that.
Okay.
As well as
okay, so with regard to your claim, she owes you $858 for the tickets.
Yes.
So that judgment is taken care of. You can have a seat.
Thank you.
The other part of the claim is for harassment. Do you want to tell me when this harassment started? I assume it was after your son and the defendant terminated their relationship. And if you indicated that you had a police report, I'd like to look at it.
Yes, ma'am. Here is the police report. And actually, the harassment had started.
Just 1 second.
Judy reviews the document.
As far as this police report you gave me, the only thing that's complained about here, really from your end, initially, was the fact that your son's tax money was put in her bank account by mistake.
It was something entirely different because he doesn't have the evidence that he needs with that.
I don't care. I'm just telling you what the document is that you handed me as evidence of harassment. And the document that you handed me as evidence of harassment, the focal point of it is last week his tax return got deposited. Alicia withdrew all the money from the account, and this included $1,500 from the tax return and $1,000 that was in the account. That was the crux of your complaint against her. Well, that's not harassment.
Well, the harassment had started on April 27th. which is like a month after those two had broken up. It was a really nasty thing. I don't know, like it says in there, I don't know if it's coincidental, but she sped through a red or a yellow light, almost hit me once. Her boyfriend had been a total nuisance in my parking lot, blowing the horn.
Listen to me very carefully. If you feel as if you are the subject of harassment, file for a protective order. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. The defendant owes your co-plaintiff $858. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Alicia.
I was very nice to them, and they just disregarded all of that.
She's very upset because my son no longer dates her.
There was drugs involved where she couldn't get her apartment of her own.
I pay my own rent, I pay my own bills. I just have bad credit, and it's not even a drug-related thing.
I was nice and put their apartment in my name, and that didn't matter to them.
She's a thief. I mean, those tickets were meant for my wedding, and she used them for something else. It doesn't matter if you're nice or not, you give it back.
Judy and Sarah.
I wish they were all that simple.
Yeah, I mean, from reading the papers, I could tell there was some more conflict than I think we got into. But none of that underlying conflict between any of the parties had anything to do with the facts of the case. That
Yeah.
she used someone else's credit card, she received a benefit that she did not pay for, and they were entitled to it.
Easy.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, easy.
Are you a victim of a scam? Go to are suing their former tenants, Carl and Renee Antonucci, for property damage, unpaid rent, and a bathtub.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2154, Hellerman Tway versus Antonucci.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Renee.
Miss Antonucci, the plaintiff, Miss Hellerman, gave you a job.
Yes,
When?
it was probably February of 2021.
Where had you worked prior to that?
I just worked for myself.
Worked for yourself doing the
And
same?
cleaning.
Cleaning.
Yes, and I worked for Rite Aid as assistant manager
And your husband was in prison.
for a year last year.
He was in prison on a 2 to 10 year sentence, correct?
A rider. It's called the rider program, and it's about a 1-year program.
You were convicted in the state of Idaho for what, sir, and when?
It was 2012 was a third DUI.
And at that time, you were sentenced to 2 to 10 years.
Oh, correct. Yes, my apologies.
I just read it online, sir.
Yeah.
It's not a secret. It's out there. So you were sentenced from 2 to 12 with a minimum of 2 years. And the rest of the sentence, you were supposed to be on probation.
Correct.
You violated the probation and you were sent back to prison.
Correct.
And that decision, violating your probation, you appealed.
Correct.
And the appellate court, the highest court in the state of Idaho, affirmed the lower court decision violating your parole,
Probation. Yes, correct.
your probation. And that was just 6 months ago.
No, it was
February of 2022 is when the opinion was published. Does that sound right?
Yes, the
Okay.
response to that. Yes, correct.
Yes. So what was your release date from jail?
It was January 11th.
Just a
Yes.
second. Don't answer
Yeah,
for him.
January 11th. Yeah,
January 11th of 2022.
correct.
Now, you had been working for the plaintiff while he was incarcerated, Miss Antonucci, without incident. That be a fair statement? You were happy with them?
I wasn't getting paid enough, but yes.
Nobody's ever getting paid enough. Even I don't get paid enough.
Right,
Everybody thinks they're worth more than they're getting.
right.
You didn't quit. You didn't complain. Now, at some point, when your husband got out of jail, there was a question about where you were going to live. Were you living in the property in question before he got out of jail?
No,
No. So he was getting out of jail. Where were you living while he was in jail?
I was in Donnelly, Idaho, in our motorhome.
Is there a reason that when he got out of jail, he couldn't go to the motorhome with you?
He did.
And then you tell me how you ended up in their property.
Shauna and Joel took us to dinner, and
They took you to dinner for what reason?
I don't know, just to take us to dinner.
Well, that was nice.
Yes, it was nice.
Very nice. So far you're working for people that you seem to like. Your husband is incarcerated. He gets out of jail. I assume you told him he was getting out of jail, that that's why he was around now. I assume you told him that he had been in prison.
Yes,
Okay. And they didn't hold that against him. They invited you out for dinner.
yes.
Tell me how the conversation came up about a new place to live?
We were just talking about moving to Adams County.
Why?
It's just a better situation.
Oh, just a second. Was he required to be in a particular county for his probation?
No.
Now, was he required to live in that county?
No, he's not, unless he puts in a request to move, and that was approved.
Well, is there any reason why you put in a request to move after he was released from prison?
Yes, because they offered to talk to Monica about a house that was coming up for rent in Adams County.
Just a second. Who knew about a house? Did you know about a house that was coming up for rent?
No.
Yeah, I'm not getting a sense of forthcoming answers from you. You have somebody who cleans for you, whose husband has been incarcerated, who hasn't been living in any of your property. Now he's coming out of jail, and I want you to tell me how the discussion of a place to live came up. You're out to dinner.
Yes, we invited him out to dinner. We were excited to meet him. They had mentioned they had put in for a change of probation officers.
So he put in a request for a new probation officer.
Yes.
But for the fact that you told them, they would have no way of knowing that you had to move from one place to another. You had to have told them if you put in a request to move.
We were just looking for a place to live.
You approached them and said, do you have a place for us?
No, I did not say that.
Well, then, how did it come about?
Caption coming up.
There was sort of acrimony at the end of your moving out, but I'm going to take one thing at a time. They say that when you moved out, you took a claw bathtub. Did you take the bathtub? The answer is either yes or no.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Shauna, Monica, Carl, and Renee.
Shauna Hillerman and Monica Tway are accusing their former tenants, Carl and Renee Antonucci, of not paying rent and stealing a tub.
We were friends, and they invited
Who was
us out
friends?
to dinner.
Just a
Shauna
sec.
and I were friends.
That's
yes.
it. So this is somebody who's a friend of yours.
And I did not. I cleaned her house very randomly, but I'm with subcontractor. I was not an employee. In fact, I called myself an employee of hers once, and she said, "You're not an employee. You're my friend. You're a subcontractor." So we were at dinner, and we were saying that we were wanting to look for a place to live, and Joel said, "Oh, well, there's a place in Adams County that Monica just bought. I'll talk to her about you guys moving in there." That's how we came to know about that place.
Great.
And we were fine with living in our motorhome, but it would be nice to have more room, so we were excited about that. That's how we found out about it.
You found out about it because you needed a place to live, that you were moving.
We didn't, well...
That's according to your husband.
As a general contractor, trying to find housing, one of my ideas was, well, let's rent a house, let's rent a place. I need space because I have trailers, I have a flatbed, I have a cargo trailer, I have the 2 vehicles and the Harley. I need a garage, I need a shop. I need to, expand. That's the sole reason for finding a different place. And also trying to save money to buy a home and recover and do all these things, build my business, so forth.
Ultimately, you moved out. There was sort of acrimony at the end of your moving out, but I'm going to take one thing at a time. They say that when you moved out, you took a claw bathtub. I know what those are. They're sort of a decorative old piece. I've had them, they sometimes use them now when they renovate houses and put modern stuff around this claw bathtub. Did you take the bathtub? The answer is either yes or no.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course. You say you took it in the answer. Did you have permission to take it?
Yes.
Yes.
Who gave you permission?
Monica.
Monica, did you give them permission to take it?
Absolutely not. I did not give them permission to take it.
So now I want one of you to tell me when the conversation took place, where it took place, and who was present. One of you is going to talk to me.
When we were about to move in and doing the walk through the residence.
No, just not moving out. You were going to move in, and you moved into the residence in February of 2021? What month?
No, we moved in April.
April of 2022. And you moved out when?
August 21st of 2022, of course.
Okay, so what you're saying, Antonucci, is that in April, now you're going to tell me a story, in April you were walking through the premises with the owner.
I was going to do some work on the place too before we moved in, and when we moved in as some of the trade, or I would build them at a discounted rate, and there was supposed to be a fireplace, a wood stove. Well, really the main reason why I moved into this place is because I had a wood stove. The electricity is so hot.
Listen to me.
Going to the house.
I don't care. Bathtub. Okay. I don't care about a fireplace. I care about a bathtub.
Okay. Discussion comes out about the bathtub. She says she's not going to plumb it in. She says if you guys want the tub, you can keep it. You can plumb it in if you want, but I'm not going to plumb it in and deal with it.
Okay, so she said to you she had this bathtub there that she didn't want to plumb in. I assume that means connect.
Correct, because the
connect to water.
Yeah.
She didn't want to plumb it in. You can either use it if you want to plumb it in or not. That's what she said to you.
No.
Not
No. Only him.
have.
No, I
If you
didn't
want
hear.
to.
I didn't hear the word have. You want to read back what he said, please?
He says, discussion comes up about the bathtub. She says, I'm not going to plumb this thing in. She says, if you guys want the tub, you can keep it. You can plumb it in if you want. But I'm not going to plumb it in and deal with it.
You want to use it, you can use it.
Keep it. Keep it.
If
have
you
it.
keep it, not keep it and take it away with you, you're moving in to her house. She said, this bathtub isn't connected to water. You can, if you want to, plumb it in, because according to you, she knew that you were in the construction business, and keep it, or not. But I'm not plumbing it in. And you viewed that 4 months later as saying, I can take the bathtub?
Yeah, there was more discussion
Yeah,
about it.
Let me hear the more discussion about it.
She didn't want the tub.
Just a second. That's a conclusion in your mind that she didn't want the tub. Based upon what you just said to me, if you're moving into a house, you're moving into a place, that statement that she made could not be construed in my mind as you can keep. It now belongs to you, the bathtub. You can either plumb it in or not. If you want to keep it, plumb it in. If you don't want to keep it, don't plumb it in. Okay, where's the bathtub?
And storage.
They get it back. 5 days.
She said she was going to haul.
5 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
5. I'll give you an order. Is that all you have to contribute to this case?
Some other witnessing, but that's...
Then, as a witness, you can sit down. You're getting your bathtub back in 5 days.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Good. Now, let's talk about the next thing, which is damages to the duplex. So they moved in April. They paid rent in April?
Yes, they did.
They pay rent in May
Yes, they did pay for May.
and June.
No, they have not completed their payment for June.
How much was their rent?
$1,200 a month.
How much did they pay in June?
They still have $80 owing, $30 in rent, and a $50 late fee.
Okay, I'm not interested. About July,
Nothing.
was there any rent in July?
No payments, no.
Did you live in the premises in July?
Yes.
You were evicted on 8/21. Up until the 21st of August, were you living in the premises?
Yes.
Did you pay rent in August?
No.
Okay. Now you want to tell me why you stopped paying rent in July?
Yes. On July 10th, there was a flood in the house.
July 10th, there was a flood in the house. From where?
We believe it was a spigot. No one ever told us
No.
where it came from.
Well, you're living there. They're not living there, right? You're living
Upstairs
there.
or-
Shut up. I'm only going to listen to one person. I'm not talking over each other. Is that you or your wife?
Me.
Fine. You're living there April, May, June. July, there's a leak. I'm living in a house. I know where the leak came. The leak comes from a refrigerator. It comes from a window. It comes from a ceiling. It comes from a something. Where did the leak come from?
I wasn't home for that. We came home to the flood. I came home to the flood at like 8:40.
Was it coming from the apartment above you?
No, it was
Where
not.
was it coming from?
Caption coming up.
I called Monica and I said, oh my God, there's water everywhere in the house. What's going on? She didn't know what was going on. So we were trying to figure out where to turn the water off at.
I'm still trying to figure out if you lived there in July, why weren't you paying rent?
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Shauna, Monica, Carl, and Renee.
Shauna Hellerman and Monica Tway claim their former tenants, Carl and Renee Antonucci, owe for unpaid rent and a bathtub. Carl and Renee are countersuing for property damage and loss of income.
Okay, was it coming from the apartment above you?
No, it was
Where
not.
was it coming from?
Apparently it was a broken plumbing pipe from the front spigot leaked
Okay,
underneath the
so
house
there-
and
just a
came up
second.
through the subfloor.
So there was a broken internal pipe, as far as you know. Now, your husband's in the construction business, he says. So when the flood happened, did you try to find the source of the flood?
I wasn't home, Your Honor.
Where were you?
I was at work.
Well, eventually, did you come home?
Yeah, I came home that evening real quick.
Well, that evening, did you try to find where the leak came from?
I had to get back to work. She was dealing with the cleanup. The water was turned off. and they were sending a plumber or something.
Okay. So
Monica said she would take care of it.
So they turned off the water, which is perfectly reasonable because the water is coming from an internal pipe that burst, right? And then what happened? I'm still trying to figure out why
They did not turn off the water until after I got home. I walked in. So I called Monica and I said, oh my God, there's water everywhere in the house. What's going on? She didn't know what was going on. So we were trying to figure out where to turn the water off at.
Okay,
so that's when the water got turned off.
100% understand you. Got it. Came home, you found water, trying to find where it comes from. Finally, turned off the water. I'm still trying to figure out if you lived there in July, why weren't you paying rent?
We were behind on rent because I was working and he was trying to get his job situated down in Boise or wherever he could get contracts with his injuries.
So what you're telling me, that you didn't pay rent in July because you didn't have the money?
No, we did not have the money.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. So other than the fact that you didn't have money, there was no reason why you didn't pay rent.
We were making payments whenever we could.
You paid no payment in July.
For Shauna.
You made
yes,
no payment in July. No, in June you did.
In June we did. In July
June you
we did
not. Listen.
And as long as I was still working for them, that was fine when we were late or making payments to them.
Just a second. You made no payments in July and you made no payments in August. You had made payments in
I wasn't going to
April,
pay for August
May, and
when
June.
we had a flood.
I'm just telling you.
Yes.
I'm asking you a question. Is the reason you didn't pay your rent because you didn't have any money?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Then you owe them the rent, $2,400. You lived there. You ate the steak.
Wait a minute,
yeah, I'm not speaking to you. Listen, you're a tag-along on this whole thing. You understand that? I think these people were very nice to you.
I'm not
probably wouldn't have been as nice.
The house flooded. That's why I couldn't pay the rent.
I have all the pictures right
It shut my business down. It shut my business down. That house flooded. My plans were ruined. My computers. There was 2 inches of water at 1,800 square feet of flood.
Yeah.
Monica says she's going to come over. Don't worry.
Mr. Antonucci, you can't talk over me, sir.
Apologies, but
you can't talk over me. I'm older than you are, and I've lived in many apartments. And believe me, I have been the cause of a flood, and I have been the recipient of floods from people around me. Usually, it's an accident. It usually is not an on purpose. Very few people turn on their bathtub and say, I'm going to let this bathtub overflow into my bottom neighbor's house. It's usually as a result of a broken pipe, which nobody can see, or an air conditioner plugs up and the pan overflows and the whatever they call it, the little water bug signal doesn't go blank, blank, so you don't even know that it's going off, and there's a flood. That's not somebody's fault. So now you have a flood that is nobody's fault, not yours, because you're the tenants. So clearly it wasn't your fault. Not something that they anticipated, not something that they were derelict in taking care of. So now, what did they do once the initial mess was cleaned up? How did they fix it? Did they fix the pipe?
We don't know. They never told us.
I
mean, they said that a plumber came to the house. He left a hole in the ceiling, which I have a picture of.
Just a second. You lived there the whole month of July and into August. Did you have water? Just answer my question. You lived there the whole month of July after this happened and the majority of August. Did it flood again?
No, because
it didn't flood again. And what did the plaintiff do to remediate that? Did they put in fans and blowers?
They put in one fan, and then she finally brought 5 more over. So I had 6 fans in an 1,800 square foot house and 1 window that opened. We lived in the basement.
So they put in fans. You said they had put in one, and then they brought
them,
up.
and I plugged them in and brought them and put them on and put them in the bedrooms. In the hallway, in the kitchen, living room.
I have a feeling that you're a victim in more ways than one. That's what you're supposed to do. You living there. They sent them over, you plugged them into the wall, that's what you're telling me?
And there's also a mold problem there.
$2,400. You owe them 2 months' rent. And the bathtub. Let's go for next. What damages to the duplex, Ms. Hellerman?
We had some drywall damages, a lot of garbage debris, large dump run.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. $2,400. And the bathtub. Now I'm going to get to your counterclaim. Money owed for loss of income, damage to a motorcycle, wrongful eviction. Well, you didn't pay your rent, so the wrongful eviction is out. Defamation. What's the defamation?
So Monica sent me a text when I quit working for her, and it said, thanks for dropping off the keys. I said, you're welcome. She goes, really? Thank you for giving me 1 day notice. No good deed, ... goes unpunished, and 3 days later we get an eviction notice on our door.
I want to know what the defamation is. What's the defamation? Nothing. Cross out defamation. Damage to my motorcycle.
Yeah, they laid gravel down in the driveway without notification, and you can't ride a 900-pound Harley through gravel. So his bike went down.
$2,400, judgment for the plaintiff, counterclaims dismissed. We're done here, and she's absolutely right. No good deed goes unpunished.
This court is adjourned.
Shauna.
She definitely got to the bottom of their character.
That house was a death trap.
We received a text with pictures of small puddles throughout the home on a concrete slab.
She didn't want to plumb the tub in. She said we could have it. If we want to use it, we could. If not, she's going to get rid of it. She's going to throw it away, take it to the dump.
I didn't ever tell them they could have the tub. I told them I was not going to install it at that time and that I had already arranged to have the tub removed. I was going to store it.
Judy and Sarah.
You know, I think what bothers me more than anything else about cases like that is that those were two nice people. The plaintiffs were two nice people.
Sure.
And they actually took a chance. They had an employee who was there for a year. Now she's got a husband who's recently released from whatever kind of prison he was in, but they welcomed him, they took him to dinner, they needed a new place to live, and then they leave the place a mess. They give them no notice. They just drop the keys and we're leaving and don't pay rent for 2 months. And took property that he knew was valuable because they moved back to their motorhome, so they didn't need a clawed bathtub, which are expensive.
But they pay for that storage.
But they paid for the storage in order to keep it. So the plaintiff was right. No good deed goes unpunished.
True.
Too bad.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. Own is suing her ex-boyfriend, Asael Arteaga, for a loan.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2060, Baron versus Arteaga.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Barone, case is not a very difficult one. You met Mr. Arteaga.
Arteaga.
Take your hands out of your pockets. At a bar?
Yes.
When?
Back in June of 2021?
Did you ever live together?
No.
You always maintained your own residence and he his?
Yes, the apartment I owned was always underneath my name.
But he never lived there?
No.
Good. But you bought a car.
Yes.
In what month and year did you buy a car?
I ordered a Tesla back in, if I'm not mistaken, May. And
May of what year?
May of 2021.
Was it a new car?
Yes.
Give me a rough number. How much was it?
Out the door, 72,000.
And what color did you order?
Black.
This is what the case is about, and it's going to take me very, very little time to resolve the case. You ordered the $72,000 car in black, and because of whatever strange reason, you wanted the car wrapped. Now, I think most people know what that means, and I think I know what that means. That means you take a perfectly good car and you put a different finish on it. Is that what it means?
Yes.
You buy a car that has a nice shiny finish and looks clean, and then you put something on it that, I don't know, looks like it's been sitting out under a volcano.
I guess you could say that.
What?
I guess you could say that.
I just did. And that cost money. It cost an additional, I think, according to the papers that I read, $3,800.
No, it's $3,950.
How much?
$3,950.
And you had some of that money, but you gave him, transferred to him, $1,800 on your credit card.
Yeah, so it was an agreement made between...
No, I didn't ask you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. You transferred to him $1,800 towards this wrap on his car.
I made the payment for him.
You made the payment for him on a credit card?
Yes.
And according to you, your arrangement was that he would pay you back monthly $100.
Correct.
You don't dispute that.
She offered.
Yeah, she offered. And you did, in fact, on 3 separate months, pay her back $100.
Yes.
And that means that in your view, it was a loan.
Well, it was more of a gift.
Well, then why would you pay her back $100 a month, Mr. Arteaga?
Because our finances are much different.
What do you mean?
I was getting a car. I ordered a car, so it was a gift for me. Because she already knew that I was looking for a PPF, which is a paint protection film. So I'm more...
Listen to me.
Yeah.
You're not answering my question. You're doing a dance around my question. If it was a gift to you, this $1,800 towards the wrap for your car, why did you pay her back $300?
To help her out.
Yeah. And then you stopped, because that sounds ridiculous. You still have the Tesla?
I still do.
Yes. You making payments on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. What kind of work do you do?
I'm an electrical superintendent.
Expensive car.
Indeed it is.
You're a single guy?
Yes.
That's what single guys do with their money. Tell me why you stopped paying her back, Mr. Artiega.
Things got sour very quick.
So things got sour with the relationship?
Yes.
Okay. And is that when you stopped paying her?
Yes.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500 is what he owes you for the balance of the loan. Thank you. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Annabelle.
We broke up. It was a nasty breakup. There was bad feelings and tensions between the both of us.
It was a bad breakup, yes, but there's a lot more details to it.
It was just out of pettiness at the end of the day.
Because she caused a lot of rifts.
I'm just not going to loan out money to just anyone from here on out.
I'm glad it's over.
And I'm really happy I get my $1,500 back.
Sarah and Judy.
Now that we've been here for a little while and I've been learning from you and all these cases that we've seen, still, rule number 1, never give a boyfriend money and expect to ever see it again. You will never see it again. It gets messy, it gets entangled, and we see it time and time again. So it's just hits even harder at home.
Have you noticed, Sarah, that it's probably 80-20 that women give money to boyfriends?
At least what we've seen here, yes.
You know, and if this is a microcosm of the world, and I don't know what that is, I haven't been able to figure it out. I've been doing this kind of business for 30 years, and I can't figure out why. Perfectly lovely young woman, guy's buying a $72,000 car and says, hey, babe, I'm short $1,800. Well, if you're short $1,800, buy a cheaper car.
Yeah.
You know, there are cars that cost less than $72,000. Anyway.
But women should be smarter and not agree to do that.
They ought to make mandatory watching these cases as part of a growing up process.
A lot of great life lessons,
Yes.
for sure.
Case 2073, Joseph versus Williams. All parties, please step forward.
Donnell Joseph is suing his niece, Tina Williams, and his sister, Martha Williams, for personal property.
Mr. Joseph, these two ladies are your half-sisters?
My half-sister and her daughter, my niece.
So, what's your first name?
Martha Williams.
Martha is your half-sister.
Yes.
And your first name?
Tina.
Tina is your niece.
Yes.
And you and Martha have the same mother.
Yes.
Your mother had a house. The house was in her name. Your mother passed away in the early 70s.
Yes.
At that time, she was married to your father, not your father, correct?
No.
And your father lived in the house until he died.
Yes.
And he died in what year?
2018.
Somehow the house, which had been in your mother's name, never went through a probate process. So as far as the law was concerned, the house remained in her name. It never went to her surviving spouse or her children when she passed away in the early 70s. What I'm reading is when your father passed away in 2018, the house sort of remained vacant for a while. For how long?
Since he passed away.
So nobody's lived there.
Correct.
And you knew your father passed away, I assume?
Yes.
And you knew your mother passed away?
Yes.
And after your mother passed away, she passed away in 1971 and 1972, did you ever visit with your father in that house?
I visited with my father. I lived in the house.
From when to when?
Well, I lived in the house 1963 until like 72 when I started moving out. But I would still go back to the house because it's my family home.
I want to know the last time, Mr. Joseph, you lived in the house.
1993.
So almost 30 years ago. And where have you been the last 30 years?
I've been in New York. I've been incarcerated.
You've been incarcerated from when to when?
93 to 2012.
So 1993 is when you last lived in the house.
Correct.
But you were released from prison in 2012.
Yes.
So for the last 10 years, you have not been back to the house.
I've been back to the house, but not living there as a resident.
Okay. So for 10 years.
Right.
As an adult, how old are you?
I'm 64.
As an adult, from age 54 to 64, you had access to the house, visited your father in the house.
Right.
Not before then.
Right.
Okay, and you haven't lived there full-time in decades.
Correct.
This is what your lawsuit wants.
Caption, coming up.
You had 10 years after you were released from prison to go and get these treasures, and you didn't do it.
Because my father's house was like the treasure of all his children's property. As long as he has...
As long as he had a bicycle or a Boy Scout book. Let's start being real.
Okay.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Donnell, Tina, and Martha.
Donnell Joseph claims his niece, Tina Williams, and his sister, Martha Williams, threw away his personal belongings. Tina and Martha are countersuing for the cost of a cleaning crew.
Your lawsuit is seeking $10,000.
Yes.
Because, according to you, the defendants disposed of your property that was invaluable. And I'm going to describe the property that you say was invaluable. A 1911 Boy Scout handbook.
Yes.
That you treasure.
Yes.
You should have taken it out of the house in 30 years if you treasured it. A mountain bike, purchased in what year?
Was it 71 or 72, around there? I know it was a 3-speed, 10-speed I got. That was in 1970 in the Univega.
You wanted it, this 50-year-old mountain bike? You should have taken it over the last 10 years. A vintage reel-to-reel tape player.
Yes.
You know how many of those I threw in the trash? Do you have any idea how many of those I threw in the trash? You got those a half a century ago. Oh my God, I remember them, big reels, and how excited we were. You could talk into a microphone, and then you could hear your voice come back, and then all of a sudden you got a phone. You could do that, the same thing. So everybody took these things, and they couldn't find enough places to dispose of them. It's not vintage anything. It's a piece of trash.
Can I speak, Your Honor?
About what?
Okay, the reel-to-reel tapes, right? Some of the tapes had speakings of my brother and Martha's daughter.
Then you should have taken them with you in 40 years. If they were treasures of yours, sir, and you're 64 years old, I would want those treasures around me. And you had 10 years after you were released from prison to go and get these treasures. And you didn't do it. You just left them in your father's house.
Because my father's house was like the treasure of all his children's property. Okay. This is how we connected to our father, because everybody has left, everybody has died. So as long as he has...
As long as he had a bicycle?
As long as he had a
bicycle or a Boy Scout book?
The Boy Scout book was handed down to me through my father.
Let's start being real.
Okay.
Okay, let's start being real.
Okay.
And the first draft of my published manuscript.
Yes.
Why didn't you take that with you?
For safekeeping, I let my father hold it because
Well, that's not a good idea, sir. How old was your father when he passed away?
Oh, he was 88, but my father's mind was sharp as a tack. He kept everything.
If you wanted it, your father passed in 2018, is that what you're telling me?
I couldn't get nothing out of the house, so...
I don't know whether you could or whether you couldn't. When did you make just a second. When did you make an effort to remove your forget about the bike, forget about reel-to-reel tape recorder, forget about the nonsense. Your manuscript. When did you write this manuscript?
I wrote it over a couple of years. It's the first draft of this book.
It's the first draft of that book?
This book.
Well, now you have the book.
But I needed to draft that because the other draft I'm working on the second book that goes along with this book, I don't have certain notes and things that I had.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, it doesn't.
It doesn't exist anymore. Okay. And if you wanted it, you should have gotten it. In 2018, when your father died, you were out of prison. Where were you living?
I was living in New York.
And where did your father live?
He lived in Los Angeles.
Between 2012 and 2018, how many trips did you make to visit with your father?
About 3.
And when did you publish that book?
2015.
So you published that book during your father's lifetime?
Yes.
And if you needed the manuscript, you came to visit your father. A manuscript, it's this big. That's how big a manuscript is.
Yes.
Where were you living in New York?
In Albany.
You have your own apartment or your own home?
House.
Do you own or rent?
Own.
When did you purchase it?
My wife, we bought it together. It was in 2009.
So you're married?
Yes.
Have children?
No.
So you and your wife purchased a house in 2009. How much did you pay for the house?
$109,000.
Are you still living there?
Yes.
So you had plenty of room in the house. You had plenty of room for a manuscript, tapes, a manuscript that you were working on. You weren't working on the manuscript long distance. What I'm telling you, Mr. Joseph, is the things that you're suing for are nonsense.
Okay.
If things that you wanted, that a grown-up man, 64 years old, gets if he wants them, it's not that you're were homeless. You have a home that you purchased. You went to visit your father 3 times, anything of value. We're not talking about furniture and antiques and a grandfather clock. We're talking about things that can fit in a tissue box. Yes. You put them in your suitcase and take them with you if they're valuable.
I couldn't visit California before that because of the conditions of my parole. So the times that I could go, I can go out there, and I had to have.
You told me you went out there 3 times.
Yes.
When your father was alive.
When I had permission to go. So I couldn't, after my father passed away, I couldn't go in the house because that would violate the probate thing. So I had permission to go into the house.
You're not understanding me, Mr. Joseph.
Okay.
You're not understanding me. You went there 3 times after you were out of prison, after you had a home, after you were married. When you went there with a suitcase, don't tell me violating your parole unless you told me that. And in the suitcase should have been, when you returned from California to New York, small things of value that you say were invaluable to you, including a manuscript. Forget the bicycle. Forget the tape-to-tape reel recorder. The tapes that you say were precious to you, if they belong to you, put them in a suitcase. So there's a lot more about this that I don't quite understand. There's a lot about this that I don't quite understand. When your father passed away, who got the house?
The house is...
Your father passed away, what happened to the house?
The house is still in probate.
Oh,
so during the probate thing, I had to have permission to take anything out of the house.
I'm telling you, I've answered your lawsuit, sir.
Okay.
I've answered your lawsuit.
Thank you.
That you're a 64-year-old man, and if something that could fit in a tissue box was that precious to you when you visited your father and you had a home, you would have taken it with you when you left.
Certain things I couldn't take.
This is not a tea dance.
Caption coming up.
The property I lost this, but I lost a sister in this process.
He said he was.
And it makes no difference of how this goes. I lost a sister.
This isn't the probate court. So I would suggest that you all take a deep breath and say, whatever it is, let it be finished.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Donnell, Tina, and Martha.
Donnell Joseph claims his niece, Tina Williams, and his sister, Martha Williams, threw away his personal belongings. Tina and Martha are countersuing for the cost of a cleaning crew.
I asked you if the house is still in probate, which is unfortunate because people didn't take care of the business. Who are the beneficiaries of the sale of the house?
Me, my sister LaWanda, my half-brother Justin Joseph, my sister Sherry's 2 sons.
Okay, let's try to clarify this. Are you the executor of the will?
There's no will. My mom's the administrator of the probate.
And I just got to be administrator. We had to go back and forth to court. We had no way of getting in and out of the house because we had no keys.
Okay. And your father, I assume, had no will?
He had no will.
What's the value of the house?
Well, we don't know because since Martha became the administrator,
Just a second, what's the address of the house?
My mom had the house appraised at $250,000.
She's going to tell me.
Sarah.
So the off-market says it's approximating $464,000. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath, 858 square feet.
And the estimate?
The range is between 400 and 515.
Ooh, well, the family has a valuable asset that has yet to be divided after all this time. It's a good lesson for everybody out there. Make a will. Now you can tell me.
Thank you. My grandma, which is their mother, she bought the house on her own with my mom's last name, which is her dad's statement. It's her maiden name, who she was married to. We don't know if they were married. That's what we're going through in probate. It's a process, but the beneficiaries would be Donnell, my mom, and 2 heirs of a deceased sibling. Donnell has also been in jail for most of my life. He hasn't been to California at all, so I wanted to back that up as well.
Well, he's not entitled to anything.
Okay.
If he wanted these items that were valuable to him, he should have taken them during his 64 years.
The most safest place that I had in the world for my value to be held was my father.
If you own a home in New York with your wife and you had an opportunity to take these valuable things because you said you visited with your father after 2009, then you should have taken them. And don't tell me it was the safest place because...
Not only the safest thing, but my father He lost 2 sons. And the only thing that he had in his house is the things that was left over from his children. And to take anything that was of value away from his children would have hurt my father. So the safest place for all our property.
Mr. Joseph, you don't think you're going to prison hurt your father?
Yes.
Okay,
That's why I changed my life around.
Let's get real. Okay, you're not getting any money here.
Okay.
You're going to wait for probate, and in the probate procedure, which hopefully won't take forever, but it clearly can because people are irresponsible and don't create a will, it is likely that you will have part of the proceeds of this house. Likely. Only because if your mother passed away, and if she was in fact married to your father or lived with him at that time in California, if there was a common law relationship and they did have children together, then you as a offspring would be entitled, if there was no will, to part of the proceeds of this house.
Yes. When she bought the house, she bought it as a married woman. So once she didn't buy it as a single property.
That's something, Mr. Joseph, you don't have to convince me of. You have to convince the probate judge of.
Okay.
You also have a counterclaim that's ridiculous, and I'm not entertaining it. It's really just stupid. Stay with probate. When is the probate proceeding supposed to be finished?
Well, we're going through a mandatory settlement.
One thing I want to say, Your Honor, however this probate is, I wanted to, the property has lost this, but I lost a sister in this process.
He said he was.
And it makes no difference of how this go. I lost a sister. My niece, she's something else, but I love my sister.
This isn't the probate court, Mr.
I love
Joseph.
my sisters.
This is not the probate court, Mr. Joseph. And I suggest that if you love your sister...
She know I love her.
Just a second. If you love your sister, and you're
I don't know how
64
she
years
can do
old...
this to me,
and you're 64...
when you know I love you.
Shh. Mr. Joseph. Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
I know you can get emotional in situations where family is involved, and your sister clearly is sick because she's using oxygen.
Well, I just had liver surgery.
Mr. Joseph, what I'm telling you is, if you have an opportunity in the probate court, I'm actually telling this to both you and Miss Williams, if you have an opportunity at your age and your stage to settle something that gives each of you something, maybe less than you would get if somebody was disinherited. But at this stage in life, at 64 years old, somebody who just had liver surgery and someone who must rely on oxygen in order to breathe, my common sense tells me that what you do is not to give the whole thing away to lawyers who are there sucking up whatever profits there are going to be in this house. Because if the house is worth $200,000, you're going to get a bill for $140,000 for the probate administrator, for the lawyers, and you're going to wind up with zippity-doo-dah. So I would suggest that you all take a deep breath and say, whatever it is, let it be finished. You have no case, Mr. Joseph. Rely on the probate system. I wish you good luck. I said your countersuit's ridiculous. And I'm dismissing.
I have proof.
I want to tell you something. Your countersuit for having to rehire somebody to move is ridiculous. I'm telling you, rely on the probate court. We are done here.
Would you please let me present my countersuit?
No, I read it. I'm dismissing it on its face. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Donnell, then Martha.
All I can say is I love my sister.
Just the same thing that's happening, nothing.
Whether it's a probate thing or not, that ain't gonna never change.
I don't want to hear anything else.
I'm always loving because that's my sister.
Let the probate court decide it.
Sarah and Judy.
You know, at 25, after doing season 1 of this show, I created and executed a will because this is a situation we've seen far too many times, and it's so unfortunate to see the breakdown of a family over something that could have been prevented had the mother, father, grandfather, grandmother created a will when they were alive to tell the rest of us how they'd prefer their property to be disposed of.
It's fascinating to me that their mother is gone for 50 years. And for 50 years, that title to that house, which is
Never got flagged, never was...
Nobody ever thought about it.
Yeah.
And the father lived there for 40 years.
Must have at least paid the taxes and maintenance
because
on it.
Absolutely. And then he's gone, and everybody is in this awful state of limbo. And you know what it is with all those siblings and half-siblings and grandchildren and whatever. Even if the house, she says she had it appraised for $250,000. You looked it up and
it was much more, but it's hard to tell.
$400,000. But even if it is, and it has to be divided with 6 people, that's a substantial chunk of money. But it doesn't look like for either one of them, it's life-altering money. He lives in a home. He has a wife. He looks as if he's okay since he's been released from prison, but he has health issues. His sister has health issues, and they're going to spend the last years of the
stressed, worried about this probate,
angry. I mean, I saw how emotional Mr. Joseph got. I love my sister. Well, if you love your sister, then you don't sue her.
Yeah.
I don't understand it anyway. Your advice is solid and sound, and I support it.
Title: Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. E.G. Garcia is suing club promoter Herman Patine for a refund on concert tickets.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2184, Garcia versus Pantene.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Ms. Garcia, it is your claim that you purchased some concert tickets through the defendant. You paid him for them.
Correct.
And you didn't get them.
Correct.
He has some story about you going on the wrong day. Okay. How do you know him?
Through a mutual friend.
How long do you know him?
Since September, when this mutual friend actually introduced us, and we engage in this kind of concert ticket purchase.
No, you're getting ahead of yourself. You met him through a mutual friend. How?
We went out to a club.
Who went out to a club?
Two of my girlfriends and LP.
Went with him?
Yes.
Well, then one of your girlfriends knew him. You had not met him before?
No.
Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm an artist.
What kind of an artist?
Produce and sing.
You do that for a living for how long?
For 12 years.
You have family?
No, I'm by myself, yeah.
Who do you live with?
By myself and my dog.
Yourself and your dog?
Yeah, my dog, yeah.
What kind of a dog do you
I have a Jack Russell.
Okay. What do you know about securing tickets for concerts, music events? What do you know about it?
What do you mean by that? I don't understand
Well,
the
I
question.
know that if you're in the music business, let's say you want to go to a concert.
Okay.
You personally want to go to a concert with a friend.
Yeah.
How do you get the tickets?
It depends. You either purchase the ticket online if you want to pay the full price, or sometimes people have deal for ticket because they have in, and you get the ticket like that and it's cheaper.
Okay. Now, I want you to tell me, Miss Garcia, exactly how you contacted the defendant and told him that you wanted concert tickets and what you wanted concert tickets to.
So I text LP and I asked him, hey, I heard that you had concert tickets. And he said he did. He's like, oh, I have 2 concert tickets.
2 concert tickets for what?
For the Bad Bunny concert for October 1st.
When I read your complaint and answer, I didn't know who Bad Bunny was. So I looked it up and was actually astounded to find out that he is a very uber popular rapper.
So we were very, very excited.
Okay. Did you tell the defendant what you wanted the tickets for?
Yes, I told him I was going to celebrate my birthday, and it was also going to be a gift to my sister, and then my girlfriend, whose birthday is in October.
And
So
when
it
is
was gonna
your
be
birthday?
October 8th.
And did you tell him what date you wanted the tickets for?
He indicated that he had tickets for October 1st.
And he had 2 tickets for October 1st.
He at first had 2 tickets, and then later on said, oh, I have more tickets. And that's how I acquired 2 additional tickets.
Okay, so first he said he had 2 tickets for October 1st. Now, when she called you, you said, oh, I have 2 tickets. That's what she says.
Okay.
I have 2 tickets. Where did you get those 2 tickets from?
From someone who's close to the artist.
Give me the name.
Oh, his name is Clint.
Last name.
I don't know. I only see him in the club. I get tickets from him all the time.
Clint from what club?
He promotes everywhere. Like he goes.
No, you said to me you got them from him at a club. I'm asking you what club.
Well,
Your Honor,
the name.
Actually, he had indicated that those were boxy tickets, and it was the owner of the boxy tickets that he was acquiring those tickets from.
Oh, I never said that.
The 2 tickets?
Oh, no,
Yes.
I never said
The
that.
2?
Yes.
I never said that. No.
I want you to tell me, when she called you, how come you had 2 tickets for the concert that she wanted to go to? Were you going to go yourself?
The truth is, I always go to stuff like that because I have access to those tickets. Again, even if it's for sport or basketball, I always have access to those type of tickets.
So you have access to them?
Yes.
But she said that you told her you had 2 tickets.
When I say access, if I request it, I know where to find it. So when her friend told me that, I say, yes, I can have access to those type of tickets. So maybe my language doesn't help with my grammar.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, so
That's
yes,
true. Maybe,
sorry for that.
Maybe maybe it's problematic. It could be a little bit of my hearing, but it's also a little bit of your accent.
Yes, I have an accent.
Sometimes people don't understand my accent because I was born in Brooklyn, and they say to me, "What? We don't understand you." I understand that, but you understand that sometimes people could not.
They misunderstand.
Right.
That's true.
Okay. But she told you she wanted the tickets for October 1st. There's no question she wanted to go on October 1st because she says in her complaint that she also booked a hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
What hotel?
It was a Sheraton.
Where is the Sheraton located?
It's by LAX.
Where do you live?
Norwalk.
Norwalk is where?
Approximately 15 miles east of LAX off the 105.
Okay, so you wanted to stay over for the concert?
Yes, so just one correction, that my cousin was the one that paid for the stay.
And the hotel was taken for one night, and was that the night of October 1st?
Yes.
For October 1st, the night of the concert?
Mm-hmm. So all the girls were going to get together that night, have a little pre-celebration. We were going to Uber to the concert. We didn't want to drink and drive. So when we got to the concert, we would get another Uber and then come back. We just wanted to be safe.
When did Mr. Patine tell you that he got extra tickets? First he said he had two.
Mm-hmm. And
did he tell you how much the two tickets were?
Yes, he indicated $150 each ticket. Mm-hmm.
How much did you pay for them, sir?
Basically, give the...
Not basically.
Huh?
Not
No,
basically.
sorry,
How much, there's this question.
It was 150.
So you are telling me that you didn't make any money?
No, because I was friend with her friend. So I was just trying to be nice for her birthday. So no, I wasn't making any money on that. I will charge more for those tickets if I want to make money. For
Of course.
Price of it, I will pay way more than that.
Well, so far. Then you got 4 more tickets.
Correct.
But you never saw the tickets.
Correct.
Okay.
Caption coming up.
They were in LA partying with us on the 2nd. We all drank, we partied, we went to a club. He felt bad for him and got a bottle service, and I have on video.
No, he didn't.
Just
he
a
got
second.
bottle
Just a
service,
second.
But
I
it
have on
wasn't from
video.
him.
I have on video.
I have on video.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of the deal.
Don't speak.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Gigi and Herman.
Gigi Garcia claims club promoter Herman Patine owes her a refund for Bad Bunny concert tickets.
Did you ask the defendant to send you a copy of the tickets?
I did on September
Just a sec.
16th.
On what date?
September 16th.
Do you have an email to that effect?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it.
And just so you know, there were 2 tour dates in Inglewood at the SoFi Stadium for Bad Bunny on both September 30th as well as October 1st.
Do you know how much he made, according to what I read yesterday? In his touring for the whole of the year, I read that his tour concert in 2022 was almost $400 million. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's the number one.
Almost
It's the number
$400
one now.
million.
Pretty darn close.
That's what I read. I was astounded, since I know Frank Sinatra is no longer with us, and there isn't anybody else that I would pay that kind of money to go and see.
Whitney smiles. Judy examines a photocopy of a text exchange between Gigi and Herman.
Okay, so you're in the music business and you have email. Is that right? You have an email? You have an email?
Yes, I have an email.
You have an iPhone?
Yes.
She asked you if you could send her copies of the tickets.
Okay.
Why didn't you send them?
Because I didn't have it at that time. I always
Oh,
received
just a
it.
second.
Yes.
Because I didn't have them. That was September 16th. On what date did you get them and from whom?
I paid for the ticket on the Monday before the concert. The guy came to pick up the money on Monday night.
When the guy came to pick up the money Monday night before the event, did he
Yeah.
give you the tickets?
Not right away, because he never do that. He always send me that after to my wallet on the...
Now I don't understand a word you're saying.
The wallet, when I received the ticket...
You
after
gave
that,
him the money. She sent you the money. How much money did she give you?
I was like 2,000.
Seven. How much money did you give him?
So the full amount was $1,215.
That's not
but
how
the
much
other,
she gave me, by the way.
no.
Just
yeah.
a minute. She's only
it's
suing for
separate.
$715.
Yeah, so there were 2 other young ladies that also purchased, and I'm not including them in my case.
So this
just
is
mine, just what I paid.
You paid $715.
Correct.
He got more money for the tickets, but you just paid him $715.
Yeah. So these were for 6 tickets. 5 tickets for $150, 1 ticket for $165.
Okay. How did you communicate with the one person who you gave the tickets to? How did you communicate with that person?
Phone. I call him.
Through the phone?
Yeah, I call him.
Your phone. So you have his name on your phone?
Yes.
Have you seen him since October?
He disappeared for a while. After that.
Just a second. He disappeared for a while after you say that you gave him the money.
I was in contact with them and her friend. I gave her the number because I couldn't reach out to him. And
second, that sounds like a lot of who shot John. You were able to reach out to him when you wanted to give him money, allegedly, but then he disappeared.
Basically,
just a second, is he still disappeared?
No, he's still not disappeared. But
well, where is he now?
I don't know. I haven't spoken with him.
Since when?
Since maybe like December.
Why?
Because I have nothing to tell him. She sued me. So
well, just a second.
Yeah.
What did you tell him about the tickets?
He said we made a mistake on the day. It was for Friday, and they went to for Saturday. So on that, he got mixed up, and I get blamed for that. That's not fair.
Absolutely. She didn't deal with Clint. She dealt with you.
But this is why I give them the number, so they can call him directly. I did that.
But the deal was not with him. It was with you.
You don't have to answer.
Sorry.
But
you don't have to answer.
Actually, they talked to him directly.
She doesn't want to talk to him directly. She didn't deal with...
I wasn't even talking to her.
She didn't deal...
I wasn't talking to her. Her friend was talking to him directly. That's what I said.
Did she get money back from him directly?
I didn't get any money.
Just a second.
No, I'm mad. I'll be blamed for something I do. And even that, I give some half of the money back to her because I feel bad about the situation.
Just a second. When did you give her back half the money?
I think 2 weeks after.
Just a second. Did he give you back any money?
He gave us $500 out of 8.
Just a second. I don't care. He gave you back $500 because he felt badly.
And it was her birthday, and they were harassing me.
Did you give her the $500 directly?
No, because I wasn't.
No. Who did you give the $500?
To her friend, because I wasn't talking to her.
To a friend?
To her friend, because I wasn't talking to her.
Just a second. Your friend only, you said, paid for 2 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 tickets at most could have been $300.
Correct.
Did your friend give you back $200?
She did.
Okay.
So I am requesting the remainder, which is $715. And that's what we had texted him on October 10th. We had asked him to pay the full amount. This is the text where...
I want to see what he said to you.
No, he did not respond to me.
He did not?
Mm-mm.
Can I tell why?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because her friend was starting threatening me, sending crazy message text when we used to be friends, and it could be resolved another way. And when she starts sending me lawyer crazy email, I'm not answering. So I say, do what you got to do, and that's it.
I mean, if you would have responded.
Just a second. So if there was a mix-up, that was a mix-up that was not her mix-up because she clearly made it her business to book a room in order to go to the October 1st concert. So that was clear. It wasn't just going to the concert. It was going to be a whole evening. What do you want, and who are you?
I'm a witness to it all.
And he speaks better than me, so this is why I would like him to come, so that it might be easier for me.
Your Honor, my name's Imad. How are you? She said she booked a hotel for the 1st, but they were in LA partying with us on the 2nd because we all met up at his house. We all drank, we partied, we went to a club. He felt bad for him and got a bottle service, and I have on video.
No, he didn't.
Just
he
a
got
second.
bottle
Just
service,
a second.
But
I
it
have
wasn't
on video.
from him.
I have on video.
I have on video because that's what we
We
do.
feel bad.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of the deal.
Don't speak.
Sorry.
We have on video of them all partying with us on the 2nd. So they only.
So on the 2nd, by this time you knew you weren't going to the concert.
Yeah, I was expecting my money that night.
What?
I was expecting my money. Like, there was a mix-up. Okay, now where's our money? So we met up. They told me, hey, you know what? LP feels really bad. There was a mistake. I'm like, okay, cool. But where's my money? Because I got to pay my cousin, my sister. I got to pay my friends. I have that responsibility. They entrusted me with money, and therefore I had that responsibility. They're not going to come after him.
Okay.
Caption coming up.
The tickets were for Friday night, sir. And you say you went there on Friday night.
No, you get confused on that. I wasn't going to the concert.
No, to give them the tickets. How are they supposed to get the tickets?
How do I know that? I have other stuff to do.
Just a second. Stop. I'm going to use him as a translator.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Gigi and Herman.
Gigi Garcia is accusing club promoter Herman Petit of purchasing Bad Bunny concert tickets for the wrong day.
Where is Clint Speak. Where is Clint? I thought you were a witness to everything.
I met him when he was giving him the money. We were at his house
Just a
having
second.
drinks.
Okay, so let's slow down a second, because you said I'm a witness to everything and I speak better than he does.
Yeah, sometimes.
So the Monday before the concert.
Correct.
You were with Clint.
I was with LP. I was with him. We were at his apartment watching Monday
And
Night
Clint
Football.
was there.
No, he called him, and then he asked me to come down with him. We went downstairs, and I never met the guy, and he gave him some money.
No, just a second.
Yeah.
So you were with him.
Yeah.
When he went downstairs and met Clint.
Correct.
Okay. And when he handed Clint the money, how much money did he hand him?
I couldn't tell you because I wasn't
that
really,
close.
I was next to him, but I was on my phone, and I asked him after the fact. I was like,
What did he... Let's go back. So now you're upstairs watching Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
And does he get a call from Clint, or does he call Clint?
He was calling him earlier.
Okay, so he was calling Clint earlier.
Yeah.
And when he went down and gave him the money, did Clint give him anything?
No, he did not.
Well, then what was the discussion that he had?
From what I heard was he...
Don't make it up as you're going along.
No.
Don't
He
make
was
it up.
giving
It's
him the
very
money
bad.
and-
It's very bad if you make things up.
No. There's no
Okay,
making
so
up.
if you
He
either
gave
you
him the
heard it
money.
or you didn't.
He gave him the money, and I guess it was for the tickets because he was telling me earlier that he was getting somebody's tickets. And I'm like, I've never met her before or her friends until the night of when we all went to the club because I was at his house. Yeah. We were drinking. Her friends came over and everything that was supposed to.
And it was at that time. Was that the time that he gave them back $500?
No, I don't know about that.
When did you give them back $500?
I think 2 weeks after. I can check if you want to tell the exact date. But I think 2 weeks after, and again, I did that out of my kindness. I don't want to give anything because that's not my fault. But I'm like, I feel bad. They were on me. I'm like, you know what? Here's something. Here's a gesture. That's what I can do. And even that, I was even willing to work with them. And I told her.
Yeah, I don't think it was their mistake, by the way. Huh? I don't think it was their mistake. They were girls going out to celebrate. They had planned a whole evening and day of going out to celebrate. They got to the concert. You weren't there on the first, because it's your claim that they got the date confused, that they were supposed to go Friday night, the 30th. That's what you say. You were there Friday night.
We're there.
Well, if the tickets were for Friday night, sir, which is what you claim, and you say you went there on Friday night.
Went where?
To the concert to give them the tickets.
No, you get confused on that. I wasn't going to the concert.
No, to give them the tickets. How are they supposed to get the tickets?
How do I know that? You have to. I have other stuff to do.
Just a second. How are they supposed? Hey, stop. I'm going to use him as a translator.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
No. You hadn't sent them the tickets on the day of the concert. According to your answer, sir, on the day of the concert, which was on September 30th, which would have been what was on the tickets, I waited for Gigi and her friends, but they never showed up. Pay attention to me. So if you went there on Friday to give them the tickets, that's what you say.
I'm talking about my house. Show how.
I'm reading to you what you swore to and what you signed in an answer. You say you're in a business for 12 years.
But I don't have people work for me.
Listen to me. Then you should have shown them your answer. What you said in your answer was...
Okay, my bad. Mistake for that.
Not my bad. On the day of the concert, I waited for Gigi and her friends to come and get their tickets, but they never showed up. The next day, I finally got on the phone with Gigi. Now, did she call you or did you call her?
I called her friend in the morning at like maybe 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. There's a mistake. I called her friend.
Okay, so you called her friend. Now, if you got there and they weren't there, you had her friend's. You had her friend's number, right?
It's not that.
You said I have.
It's not. That's not what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is, I just read you what you.
No, but I try to explain you. I wasn't at the concert visit, even on the Saturday. For the ticket.
How was she supposed to get the tickets?
She come to my house, and that's it.
Okay, $715, judgment for the plaintiff. I think you're full of baloney.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Gigi, then Herman.
I thought that was really fair. I mean, when you enter a verbal contract with someone, you expect them to uphold their side of the deal. If they don't, then they have to give you your money back.
That's her problem, not mine. and I give something just out of my kindness, she would just take that. And Sia wasn't the bad person on that.
That same night, he had indicated that he felt really bad, yada, yada, yada. And we thought, hey, it's legit. We're going to get our money back that night. And he's like, oh, let's meet up at this club or at this, it was a restaurant, then club. And it was.
I wouldn't be partying with somebody that just screwed me out of tickets.
Exactly.
Doesn't make sense. It's like if somebody screws you out of money, you're going to go party with them? Highly doubtful.
It doesn't matter. That wasn't part of the deal. The deal was concert tickets for this amount of money. No concert tickets, I get my money back. Plain and simple.
It's over. For a favor for friends, yeah.
Judy and Sarah.
So we're having this discussion, you and I interpreted that sentence as he waited for them at the concert to give him the tickets. You point out that that sentence could also be interpreted, I waited at my house for them to come and pick up the tickets. Either way, Sarah, the right thing to do is if you've got $1,000 of somebody's money, because there's no question that this guy took a vig for himself, and if they don't come, and if your friend is a friend of hers, then you call at 5 o'clock at night and say, you know, I have your tickets here. Yeah. Where are you? He doesn't. The next day, he calls his friend and says, you got the dates mixed up.
Yeah.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। एक दफ़ा का जिक्र है कि इमाम हसन और इमाम हुसैन ने तख्ती पे कुछ लिखा तो वो अपने बाबा के पास गए और कहने लगे कि बाबा हम में से किसकी लिखाई ज़्यादा अच्छी है। तो बाबा कश्मकश में पड़ गए और किसी का दिल नहीं दुखाना चाहते थे। और हज़रत अली अलैहिस्सलाम ने फरमाया आप अपनी वालदा से जाकर पूछे। हज़रत इमाम हसन अलैहिस्सलाम और इमाम हुसैन अलैहिस्सलाम अपनी वालदा के पास गए। वालदा भी किसी का दिल नहीं दुखाना चाहती थी। उन्होंने कहा आप अपने नाना जान से जाकर पूछें। हज़रत इमाम हसन और हुसैन अलैहिस्सलाम अपने नाना जान के पास गए। नाना जान ने कहा इसका फैसला जिब्राइल करेगा। तो हज़रत जिब्राइल अलैहिस्सलाम कहने लगे कि इसका फैसला मैं कैसे कर सकता हूँ, इसका फैसला तो अल्लाह करेगा। अल्लाह ताला ने हज़रत जिब्राइल अलैहिस्सलाम को एक सेब अता किया। अल्लाह ने कहा ये सेब जिसकी तरफ गिरेगा उसकी लिखाई ज़्यादा अच्छी होगी। तो हज़रत जिब्राइल अलैहिस्सलाम ने सेब उछाला तो सेब दो टुकड़े होकर दोनों शहजादों की तरफ गिर गया। सुभान अल्लाह। I have the honor to express my thoughts on the occasion on this auspicious ceremony held in commemoration of the 17th anniversary of great Prophet Allama Muhammad Iqbal. Today, I am here to repeat the biography of this great personality, as it has been a custom of such ceremonies from the very beginning. Let it be a part of the past. Respected audience, as we have enormous consequences and agree at all hands at Allama Iqbal had a multidimensional personality of rare quality. So to sum up all the aspects of such a high caliber figure in a nutshell manner is to synonymous with a hard nut to crack. Hence, keeping in view scarcity of time and remaining like to up only one's vision that he had on profound and thought-provoking views on this particular issue, invite us to give them particle shape and set our educational system on the right path, on the right.
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद। वो आपके सामने जी ज़ियारत नज़र आ रही है। पहुँच के हम ज़ियारत के करीब। अल्लाह पाक जो मोमिनीन जो दोस्त अहबाब ज़ियारत की हसरत रखते हैं, अरमान रखते हैं, मौला कायनात मालिक कायनात इस पाक हस्ती का सदका, इस पाक मकाम का सदका उनको ज़ियारत का शर्फ बख्शे, उनको इस जगह की ज़ियारत नसीब फरमाए। आमीन। ये आपके सामने आपको हर में इमाम हुसैन अलैहिस्सलाम और हर में हज़रत गाज़ी अब्बास अलैहिस्सलाम का झलक नज़र आ रही है। करीब पहुंच चुके हैं इंशाअल्लाह। थोड़ी देर तक इंशाअल्लाह ज़ियारत पे पहुंच जाएंगे। मालिक कायनात तमाम की तकलीफ परेशानियाँ आसान कर दें। तो हमें याद रखिएगा कि ये देखिए ये आपके सामने हरम की इमारत नज़र आ रही है।